Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for the second last episode of The Walking Dead Season 7. This is for Season 7, Episode 15, Something They Need. And spoiler warning, if you guys have not seen this episode yet, you definitely want to watch it before you watch my review. So this was a pretty incredible episode. We've had a few really good episodes in a row now. I feel like after episode 13, this season really picked up. And there was a lot of setup earlier with some things with, for example, the Oceanside, and episode 11 with the Sanctuary and Eugene that we really got to see, all kind of come into play here now and really set us up for an amazing finale. And there was quite a bit of setup in this one for the big finale, which is, of course, next weekend's episode, our last episode of The Walking Dead Season 7. It's gone by pretty crazy fast, even faster than, some seasons do for me. And just kind of been waiting, like a lot of the season, I feel like we've been waiting to see some big payoff episodes. And we did get them. We had episode 13, episode 14, and now this one here, which was also really good, but even some more setup for the finale and, the ongoing plot of the survivors versus the saviors. So this one actually went very close to how we predicted this week in the Q&As. We've done lots of Q&As this week. We got to see some scenes from the comic book series, like the David-Sasha sequence, which we've kind of been expecting for quite a while. I mean, I kind of knew David was going to be the same as the comic book version. You could kind of see it happening. He's not a very important character or anything. He's maybe like a C or D-list character at this point. But, he's made advances to Enid and stuff like that before, so we kind of knew that he was creepy and weird like that, and that he would fit in the same role as the comic book series version, which he, of course, did in trying to rape Sasha in this episode, but luckily is caught by Negan and killed by him in what is probably the best scene of the episode, at least one that's really intense and really scary, and kind of like, it's interesting. The emotions that everything at the Sanctuary brings in this episode are pretty complex and they're pretty mixed. It's hard to place it on how you feel about Sasha's predicament, where Sasha's at, what Negan does, because here's Negan, right? So he's a psychopath for sure, but we're not monsters, right? So he kills David by stabbing just right out of the comic book, pretty much exactly right through the neck and everything. So it was pretty exciting. It was pretty wicked, crazy. You see the blood all behind him, all pooled down and everything. And Negan gives Sasha the knife and gives her the opportunity to put him down. Now with her, we see that she is not quite 100% sure if she's going to put him down or not. At least that's the way I read it. When you see her, she's taking her time with it. She's waiting. He's starting to turn. She's probably entertaining the idea of letting zombie David bite her to kill her, because she's, at this point, she's lived her life, and she doesn't want to be a hypocrite in the way that Eugene kind of has become one. By fighting for the survivors, going in, trying to kill Negan, and then being captured. She doesn't want to become a savior. She doesn't want to hurt the group. She went in there to try to protect the group and the others, and to try to take Negan out all by herself. And of course, it didn't work now. So some really just emotional scenes with that. That one was really funny. And this is the thing about Negan that's so interesting. You have Negan where he does kind of like a hardcore kill on the guy, right? A pretty brutal kill. And luckily it didn't seem like they cut anything from this one. This one, the brutality was there. You see it go through the neck and everything like that. It was awesome. It was wicked. I really liked it a lot. But then he mixes in some comedy too, because he's got the charisma too, right? And this is why Negan is so interesting, right? Because he's this brutal psychopath leader of the Saviors, but at the same time, he kind of has charisma too, and he's very likable. He starts to talk with Sasha, and he starts to try to kind of turn her on him, and compliments her on her beach ball size lady nuts, awesome lady balls, which is really funny. And it's just very. There's a lot of layers to this. It's very complex. There's a lot of things going on here with Sasha and Negan and Eugene. So after that sequence, which is probably the highlight of the episode for me, because I was waiting to see that from the comics, it was really great. As some people brought up in the Q&As this week, we did get to see kind of the poison pills that Eugene had made earlier, which again, really good setup in episode 11, now coming into play now, because Sasha realizes that she doesn't want to hurt those she cares about. She wants to protect the group, which for me is great for Sasha, because when, for example, we go back to season 4 with Sasha and we got the big spot, and you got Sasha kind of telling Tyrese what to do. It was in the trailer. I remember this at the beginning of the season, right? And, Tyrese kind of was there every time. You weren't the boss of me. You weren't telling me what to do. So it's Sasha's personality that she's trying to protect others. She's like your big sister, so to speak, that's looking out for you and wants to protect you and wants to do her best and do right by you and do everything she can to protect you, even at the point in this one where she's willing to kill herself, where she's willing to commit suicide in order to protect the group. Man, that's a great character. This is really all there is to it. So I really like what they did with Sasha in this one. I don't see how anybody couldn't like it. I mean, just, really, really great stuff for her. Very sad at parts, at the end there as well when she has the conversation with Eugene. And again, some humor mixed in there too. Like you have Eugene who talks about being brave and the greatest 37 minutes of his existence. He's really funny. Josh McDermott, really, really funny. Abraham, of course, was too. Michael Cudlitz was too. And, with her, there's a mention of Abraham, whether or not he would want you to. Like at first he says he wouldn't want you to die, and then he wouldn't want you he wouldn't want you to die. He would want you to join the Saviors, and then he flip-flops on it. He says, okay, no, that's not true. He would want you to go down swinging. And maybe that's part of why Abraham was attracted to Sasha in the first place and ended up leaving Rosita to be with Sasha, is that maybe he saw qualities like that in her, and never give up type of attitude, never say die. And even in this, even in dying, even in suicide here, that's still not giving up. She's still doing everything she can to protect the group and to protect those that she cares about. So, man, really some great stuff with Sasha. It sounds like her time in the show is basically coming to an end. We'll see what happens in the season finale next week's episode. I'll do my predictions after this video here. But basically, just to say it, I loved everything at the Sanctuary this episode. All the dialogue was incredible. Very emotional at the end there. And Eugene agreeing to give her the poison. Not being sure whether or not it hurts, because now at this time he's actually giving it to somebody that he doesn't want to see in pain, and he doesn't want for this to happen. But of course, he's kind of breaking the rules to do that. So he's not entirely cowardly. He's at least helping her in a way to give her the ability to kill herself or put herself down, so that she isn't used by Negan as a tool to hurt the others. But even in doing so, she may end up being used as a tool anyway. However, we'll save that for the predictions video after this one for sure. Okay, so moving on from the Sanctuary, we were also correct about the character that we saw at the end of episode 14. It did turn out to be Dwight, and he is turning out to be turning against the Saviors. So we were right on the money this week. See, so sometimes my predictions are bad, but sometimes they're good. So this one, we were 100% right on. It was Dwight, and he's confirming. I like the scene at the end there as well, too, when Daryl goes to attack him, which, again, we did another video on that this week, right? On how is Daryl going to react. He reacted exactly how you would think he would. Somebody hold me back type of thing, right? You're going to beat the absolute snot out of him into the ground, which was really great. And then Rick tells Dwight at the end to get on his knees. Awesome stuff. It also is a nice tie-in for the comics, because there's a part in the comics earlier, which we're actually getting to see now, where Dwight is kind of taken, he's taken and he's put into the cell, and Morgan's cell actually becoming useful at this point. And it's nice how they remix that and have included that in the show now, that Dwight is deciding to turn on Negan and the Saviors, that he's actually kind of, he's kind of filling that role in the comics that we never got to see. It's kind of being remixed into the show, which is really cool now at this time with only one episode left. So that's great setup. We'll have to see how Rick decides to use him in the finale, and if he's going to be able to be useful to these survivors, whether or not they're going to be able to win, because as we saw from the promo, Negan and the others are coming. So they're coming to Alexandria, and Rick and the others, it looks like, are going to be ready. So it's exciting stuff. Also, a little birdie told Negan that Rick and the others are preparing to fight. Now, this one interests me here, because I'm not 100% sure who that is. And we'll focus on that more in the predictions video in about half an hour to an hour when I post that. But right now I'm trying to think, we know that Gregory has been talking a little bit, right? But we don't know 100%, I guess, everything he's told Simon, and Simon has invited him to come and meet, and it looks like in this episode Gregory is deciding to do that. But I'm trying to think if there's anybody that could have told, because Eugene didn't really know what they were doing so far as I can remember, because Eugene is taken in episode 8, which is is when Rick is out working and trying to get the stuff for Negan and the Saviors. So Eugene didn't know that Rick and the others were going to do this and were going to join with the Junkyard Group and all this kind of deal. So it's pretty interesting, and I can't wait to see who that is actually, who's been kind of snitching on them and telling Negan, because right now, so far as I know, we don't really know. If you guys have found something in the show that would tell us who it is, you can write in the comments below, or we'll discuss it more in the predictions video. As long as it's not leaked spoilers, that's not what I want. As long as it's just something you've determined from the dialogue in the show, or if there's something I'm missing here with who's been snitching. So write that in the comments below, guys. Really great stuff with that too. Love the scene at the end. Also the stuff with the Oceanside in this episode. So some really good stuff with the Oceanside. Tara telling Rick about the Oceanside. You get a voiceover, and then you get them kind of moving into action. And I thought the stuff with the Oceanside, it worked pretty well. Some of the feels here are uncomfortable because you have Rick and the others, of course, who are kind of our good guys, so to speak, which they've done some questionable things in the last couple of years, especially season 6. They kill and clear out an entire outpost of the Saviors. So with that, it's kind of like they're not really just the good guys anymore. But basically, they take from the Oceanside. So they kind of attack them. They do it in a way where they don't hurt anybody at the Oceanside for the most part. They don't have to kill anybody. They don't shoot anybody. But they set up with the explosions and then kind of herd them in and kind of get them into a spot. Then there's the scene with the walkers, which I guess was kind of put in there to show that Rick and the others are kind of, maybe they're protective over the people. They don't let anyone get killed in the chaos of the zombies coming in, and that they are strong so that maybe the Oceanside people can decide whether or not they want to help out. Right now, it looks like, from what we saw, from what I saw anyway, it didn't look like they were allowing almost anybody from the Oceanside to join and to help yet. But we'll have to see how that goes in the near future, because Natanya doesn't want them to help out at all, doesn't want them to get involved because of how it turned out last time. And she's willing to almost get herself killed as a result with the scope from Michonne on her there, and Tara and everybody around, and Rick threatening her and everything. So some pretty intense sequences with that. I like the explosions when those went off. Like I said, some really interesting emotions, some really interesting feels. In this one, a little bit of cognitive dissonance, because you wouldn't like to see your heroes do something like that. But I guess if you want to break an omelet, or if you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. You want to break an omelet. If you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. So they've got to do something that they don't want to do, that is not great, in order to get into a position where they're going to be able to fight off the Saviors. Really good stuff. So I liked all those scenes there. I thought it was pretty good when you have Tara and you find out that the gun is empty. There's no bullets in it, kind of redeeming her, making her kind of a good guy character. It reminds me of John Bernthal interview where he said that he wanted to do that with Shane, but they wouldn't let him because they wanted Shane to remain and be a bad guy. It's kind of interesting that with Tara they kind of did something similar here, but they let her be the good guy, so she didn't have any bullets in the gun, and Cindy kind of takes her down, and you get to see with Cindy here that she's developed a pretty good relationship, I'd say, or friendship with Tara. And wants to help and wants to fight back against the Saviors. So the Oceanside stuff was pretty exciting, and then we just had some other things happening at the Hilltop here, like I mentioned with Gregory, getting Cal. They're going to go on a little bit of a drive, probably to meet with Simon. We'll have to see what happens with that. And then, of course, conversation with him and Maggie, and him losing his alpha pretty hardcore in front of Maggie. That maybe that's pushed him over the edge. He's not willing to take that as Maggie. What can we say here? Does she publicly embarrass him? Okay, so it's true that he hasn't killed any zombies before, and you can see it in this one, but she says it so that he loses respect from his people, which you can see happening here a lot, where Gregory's kind of there and Maggie's so useful, and she knows about farming, and she knows what to do, and she's going out to get this blueberries and stuff because of how good they are, and because of course from her dad and everything, knowing that how to farm and the best ways to do it and everything, that it's just at probably a higher level than just about anybody there, maybe than anybody at the Hilltop, especially Gregory, and kind of publicly embarrasses him a little bit, or at least because Gregory lied about how many zombies he's killed and that kind of thing, with not killing any, which was a funny scene. But it was a little bit weird to see her with the digging tool kill a zombie in my eye, because I'm thinking to myself that probably would not go through a zombie's head. But anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. We get the point. We get the idea. So all around, it was a really good episode. I like the theme. Love the Negan David Sasha scene. really kind of mixed emotions about the Sasha stuff. Also mixed emotions about, Rick and the others attacking the Oceanside in the way that they did. They didn't give them a choice, but I guess they're in a position where if they did give them a choice and they said no, Rick and the others are in a position where they can't allow them to say no. They don't have the option to be nice about it and just to ask them if they want to help. And then if Nathaniel and the others decide no, then they have to leave. They kind of need the guns, they need the weapons, and they need to be able to fight, so they don't have much of a choice. So another really good episode, this one. Probably not as good as episode 13 or 14, but some really great developments and setup for the finale. And of course, we had a lot of different locations in this one. So this is kind of what an episode feels like, I suppose. If you want to look at like some episodes that are bottled off in one location, this is an episode where we get to see a bunch of different locations. We get to see Alexandria a little bit at the end there, the Sanctuary, the Hilltop, and the Oceanside. So that's 4 different locations in one episode. It made it pretty exciting, but because it wasn't extended, it also feels like in each position we didn't maybe advance that far in terms of the story because there was a lot of jumping around to different spots. That said, I'm still going to give it a 9.2 out of 10. I really liked the episode a lot. It was really great, and really it's part of the greater story. So it's a setup episode for the finale, and we've got a lot of great developments happening here with Dwight and Sasha and Negan and how this is all going to go down in the finale. I just can't wait to see it all go down. So let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Write your comments below. If you liked this review, please don't forget to thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe, turn on the notifications with the bell, and I'll see you guys back in about half an hour to an hour with the predictions for what I think is going to happen in the season finale for this season, The Walking Dead Season 7. So for this one, see you guys in half an hour. It's Trev, and peace. Later, guys. See ya.